What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of Player Ratings in our last pre-season game just before the start of the season this weekend. We're actually going to start a bit different this week. We're going to start with Ange Postecoglou. Sim gives him an 8. I give him a 7. And look, we lost the game 4-2, so it's hard to mark him as high as 8 or 9. But I think the way he's managing the team at the moment is unbelievable. The way he's got us playing our football, it seems as though the whole team, the whole squad, not even just the first team, but the second team also buying into the way he wants to play. I've never seen a second team at Tottenham play so well as we did last night for many, many years, to be honest. And I think the little ways and triangles that we're playing in, the pressing from the front, the energy that we're showing on the pitch, I think is all down to him. So big up to him. But we're still very vulnerable in the defensive situation. So I'm not going to put that down too much on him, because the personnel that we've got in defence is not adequate enough to play his system, especially with the likes of Eric Dyer there, who just looked so uncomfortable in a high line last night. But look, you got to give him all the credit. And in a 4-2 loss, to get a 7 and an 8 is high praise.
Yeah, I thought we were fantastic yesterday, especially in the first hour of the game. Even though, at the beginning of the game it looked a bit ropey and looked like we're going to be opened up time and time again, I think we settled into the game. All of a sudden, you saw Ange's coaching methods and his philosophy come to fruition, and the pressing was there. All of a sudden, we upped our aggression, we started creating chances, and we started to control the game. Now, all changed after the hour mark, after Barca made about 5 or 6 subs, and they freshened things up. And the game, obviously, primarily, as Ange said after the game, was about getting minutes in the legs and getting the fitness up. Wasn't about getting the result. Look, I'm sure it was a shame in the end to lose, but for me, the main part of the game was that first hour. That's what you can really judge this game on, in my opinion. And for that, we were absolutely brilliant. And I think I agree with you. The fact that the second team can come in and it looks seamless in terms of the way we're playing is credit to Ange. I think that the players really know their roles. They're starting to get to grips with what Ange wants. And I think it's really, really positive. They seem happy, they seem to be enjoying their football, and it seems to be effective as well. So let's see how it starts when the season starts. Yeah,
absolutely. And now let's move on to the playing staff, starting off with the goalkeeper, Vicario. 5s all round for Vicario. And a few worrying signs, to be honest. I thought a couple of goals, he didn't cover himself in so much glory. One of the ones where he got an arm to it and it kind of went under his arm. Look, it's not the biggest mistake in the world, but it's just something to keep an eye on. And the last goal as well, his positioning for me was completely off, albeit it would have been really hard to save it, but you've got to put yourself in the best opportunity to try and save it, and I don't think he did that. But on the flip side, on the good side, he did make a number of really good saves on the day. I think his kicking out the back wasn't the strongest yesterday, but look, I think there was some good and some bad in there from Vicario, but I think I'm not going to mark him too down on his pre-season so far.
He did make some good saves, one from Lewandowski outside the box. Eliazuli as well had a long shot which was saved, and then as well Marcos Alonso late in the game, a really good free kick which was tipped over the bar. In terms of the goals we conceded, the first goal, it touched his left arm. He got a decent hand to it, but it was a really tidy finish from Lewandowski. He can finish it from those kind of areas, albeit from that kind of angle, you expect maybe Vicario to do a bit better. The next 2 goals, I don't blame him at all. The fourth one, I've watched it again. I don't think it's a massive issue. I think he's basically covering the near post, and as well he's covering in case the player rolls it to Ferran Torres to an empty net. So I think it's more on the defence than Vicario's positioning for that goal, in my opinion. I don't think he would have saved it even if he was all the way to the right-hand side as well. So I don't see it as a positioning issue. I just think it's the defence is all over the place, and he had so much to deal with that they ended up getting the open goal. So fair play to Barcelona on that goal. There were some worrying signs, as you say. I think Ange was getting a bit frustrated with him on the touchline with some of his kicking. So look, let's hope he can get ironed out those kind of errors for the start of the season. But look, I don't think he's had the best pre-season, but it's hard to judge a goalkeeper on such a few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to the right back in Pedro Porro. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 4. And look, I think Pedro Porro was poor. Defensively, especially. First goal was he was in complete no man's land, couldn't get anywhere near Lewandowski in the opening stages. And right at the end, for the 2 goals that we conceded late on, Porro was absolutely nowhere to be seen. He did do a few nice things going forward, but I think the bad definitely outweighed the good in this game.
I disagree with you, not totally. I think, but I do disagree about him being poor defensively. I think for the first goal he was, absolutely, I completely agree with that. But I did think he got a lot better during the game, and I actually thought he tightened it up a lot defensively and was actually pretty good. And I thought Pedri was pretty much out of the game for large stretches. Yes, late on, we were completely opened up. We were chasing the game. And clearly the players were on their feet. He wasn't the only one. Reguilón was pulling up. The defence was just all over the place. Dyer was just letting players go through. So I don't think it was he was terrible defensively, to be honest, in the last bit of the game. I just think, that's what can happen when you're chasing the game and you're tired. You can get opened up like we did. I actually thought in possession he was a lot more, he kept it a lot simpler than he has in previous games. Unfortunately, I actually think going forward, he didn't really provide too much of a threat. He got to the byline a few times without really affecting things. But what I was really happy about, actually, for me, was I thought he was a bit better defensively apart from after that first goal. And I think he's maybe starting to get to grips with how to play that inverted role, where sometimes, a bit like Emerson, you just have to keep things simple, not overcomplicate things. And I thought he was doing that yesterday, to be fair.
Look, I did see a couple of good moments where he showed some good defensive acumen, but I thought all in all, I mean, he did have his hand in 3 of the goals we conceded last night, and he's got to be marked down on that, to be honest, whether he out on your legs in the last minute of the game or not. I just felt he was out of position for 2 goals right at the end.
I don't think you can blame him for that. I think Barca made loads of changes. We were very, very tired. I think the whole team were tired. So I wouldn't blame him for that, in my opinion.
All right, let's move on to Eric Dyer. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 3. I mean, again, he was very shaky early on. He didn't look comfortable with that high line whatsoever. Again, he was another of the defenders caught completely napping at the back for the goals late on. And I just don't think he's just suited to anywhere near that Ange wants to play. He looks really uncomfortable in a high line, to be honest.
Yeah, and especially that third goal really annoyed me. To be honest, because he was kind of didn't do either. He didn't engage the player, and he didn't take him out and take a yellow card. He didn't try and block off. Also, the second goal, he knows Ferran Torres is behind him, but he doesn't track the run. He decides to ball watch and completely stop, and it allows Ferran Torres to get a free shot on goal as well. For the first goal, he was completely all at sea. So I think he struggled quite badly for all the goals. I think on the ball he was okay, and I actually think, to be fair to him, for the first hour, I thought he was pretty solid, especially from set pieces. He was getting his head on a lot of the headers and a lot of the crosses in the box, and was pretty good at clearances. And actually was being quite aggressive, but I think he let himself down a bit for a few of the goals late on. But again, the whole team were all at sea. But I think it's more about the equaliser. I think he just was pretty poor for that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Moving on to his partner in Davinson Sanchez, Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. Early on, he did start a bit shaky. He let, I can't remember, I think it was Rafinha just completely breezed past him for the first goal. And but after that, I mean, he grew in stature, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant with his late challenges, were absolutely spot on, shepherding the ball out of play at times. I mean, no Barca player could just get anywhere near him, to be honest, and he was dominating anything that came his way. It was such a great performance from Davinson Sanchez after those early scares in the first few minutes. So you got to give props to Davinson Sanchez with all the rumours of him leaving to pull in a performance like that against Barcelona.
Yeah, really impressive. What I was even more impressed about, because we know he can be a good defender at times, but what I was more impressed about was he seemed to have a lot more composure. He seemed to be a lot calmer on the ball than when we used to with Davinson Sanchez. I don't think the quality was necessarily there, but at least he was trying. He was trying to play his way out the back. He didn't panic when he got the ball. He was able to set Tottenham on attacks, and a few times there's been clips circling on social media of him passing and moving and just being calm and composed, and that was really, really good. And as you say, the defensive stuff, last-ditch challenges, really strong aggression, that was really great as well to see. So credit where credit's due. It was a really top performance from Davinson.
That put 5 million or 10 million on his price tag,
hopefully,
due to Levy.
Yeah, hopefully. That's what they're thinking, I reckon.
Yeah, let's move on to Reguilón, the left-hand side of the defence. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 4. I mean, lost Rafinha for the early goal. I think he had his hand in pretty much every goal we conceded, and especially when that youngster came on the right-hand side for Barcelona. What was his name? Yamal. I mean, he was just tearing Reguilón, an absolute new one when he came on. Defensively, he was struggling massively, but he did have his hand in Skippy's first goal, I believe it was, with the interchange with Ivan Perisic. or was it Giovanni Lo Celso? I can't remember. It was Perisic. Yeah. So I think look, he did have some good moments going forward, but his defensive display yesterday was shocking.
Yeah, I think in general play, I'm not sure he knows what to do when he's in the inverted role. I don't think he's capable of just I feel like he's a bit like a bull in a china shop when he gets on the ball in the centre of the park, and I feel like there's a bit of a lack of care, a bit like Porro, to be fair, except Porro didn't show that in this game. I think Reguilon did. I think again, Reguilon, when he gets to the byline, looks a lot more comfortable when he's in the wide areas than when he's in the central areers, and I think again he showed that. Defensively, I still think he's suspect. For me, I think he showed that, as you say, had a hand in all the goals, although the last one he pulled up, so it was a bit unfortunate for him in that last minute. But I just don't know about him in this inverted role. I think he's got too much it's hard to describe, like too much pent-up energy. He gets too excitable in those areas. Over-exuberance. That's the thing. That's the probably good term to use about him in the central areas. And sometimes, like Emerson, when you're in those areas, you just need to keep it calm, play a simple pass and allow the forward players to kind of flourish. But sometimes he's kind of wanting to do too much.
And when you're comparing him to a player like Destiny Udogie, right? Like Reguilon's been here, done it. I mean, he's played in the Premier League, and Destiny just looks so much more ready-made for what we want to do. To be honest, I mean, you look at those defensive flaws from him yesterday. The first goal gets completely done by Rafinha for the early goal, gets caught out with the ball over the top for the second goal, and for the third and fourth goal just gets completely done. I mean, the fourth goal, he did get pulled up, so I'll give him a pass on that one. But for the first three goals, it's just nowhere near good enough, is it?
Yeah, I agree. Destiny looks a lot more comfortable.
Next up, let's talk about the hero of the day, Ollie Skipp. 8 all round from us, and he started the game quite dodgy, to be honest, where they were really putting it on us. It looked like he was a bit out of his depth in those first 10-15 minutes, but he got that first goal with a nice finish at the back post after Lo Celso hit the post. And then a few moments later, he's got a bullet header in the box for the second goal after a really nice Perisic cross. So I think from those moments were obviously top-notch from Ollie Skipp. And apart from that, I think he grew in stature in the game. He was working tirelessly hard, running around, putting himself about, and made it really hard for the Barcelona midfield. And there were a couple of moments he did get the better of Frankie de Jong again. So it was great to see.
Yeah, for the opening 15 minutes, it did seem a bit like child's play between de Jong and Skipp. And de Jong was really having the better of it, but Skipp did grow in the game and he started to insert himself. He got those couple of goals, which were both, by the way, two really nice finishes, late runs into the box and getting involved in the attacks. And I thought all of a sudden those goals really did start to give him confidence. He started to get really aggressive in the challenge, get close to the Barcelona players. He won the ball back a few times in the Barcelona half, especially in the second half, to try and sustain those attacks. And he started to pass the ball a lot quicker and started to be a bit more confident about his surroundings. And I think maybe once I think it's just those goals gave him that confidence, because before that he was struggling a bit. I did feel like Pedri, Gavi, de Jong and Romeo were just kind of passing it around him and he was getting nowhere near. But once he got those couple of moments, you saw that confidence grow and he had his chest out and he was being aggressive, and that was really, really good to see from Ollie Skipp.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had this conversation a few times now, and I think we've both been in agreement that 6 is probably his best position in the Spurs team. In this pre-season so far, he's been in the 8th position. I mean, what have you made out of him?
I still don't know if he's completely right for it, to be honest, because for me, how I like to look at these number 8 positions is maybe Ange is different, but from what I can see in these number 8 positions, I would like to see a bit more offensive ability. I like to see a bit more technical ability in those number 8 positions. Now, he has technical ability, but I don't see him as a player who really has that proper offensive ability, like a creative passing, like ability to shoot in around the penalty. I know he scored 2 goals, but that's very rare for someone like Ollie Skipp. And until he starts showing more of that side of his game, I still don't think he's going to be the perfect fit. Not to say he can't play that role on occasion, but I just don't see him being a natural fit for that number 8 role. Whereas the number 6, I actually think still, even though he hasn't played it, I do think he's got, because he likes to keep things a lot simpler, and he likes to keep things, his passing simpler and crisp, and he does have a good passing range. So I still think he's more used to that role, in my opinion. But look, Andrew's playing him the number 8, so maybe he's seeing something I don't.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see his role throughout this season, and if he does keep insisting on the 8, or if he does drop down to the 6 at times, or maybe just a hybrid of both, and he'll be deployed in both situations throughout the season, which I probably imagine will be the situation. But let's move on to Yves Bissouma. Sim gives him a 9, I gave him an 8, and Bissouma was absolutely insane. He was so good yesterday. Barcelona players just did not know how to deal with him. If they got close to him, he would wiggle around them. If they stood off for him, he would make a really nice pass to the left or to the right, or even forward to put another player into a lot of space. I mean, there was one time where he had about 3 or 4 Barcelona players round him at the edge of the box, and he just wiggled his way out. I mean, he is such a hard player to play against when he's in full flight, and he most definitely was in full flight yesterday. I would like to see him add a few more goal contributions to his game, to be honest, but I think the way he controls the game from the middle of the park, from that 6th position, I think he's going to be such a valuable player for us. And, you know, we've been waxing lyrical about Bissouma pretty much all pre-season, and this game, I think, was the best of the lot, to be honest. And I just can't wait to see what this season brings for him. I keep saying it, but I just literally just can't wait.
For me, he was my man of the match. I actually think he literally didn't put a foot wrong in this game. I thought he was absolutely outstanding throughout. He was literally the perfect kind of performance from what we want in the number 6 position. When he's passing forward, he does it progressively. He takes risks, but he doesn't take risks willy-nilly. He actually pulls off the pass quite confidently, and there's quality there. When he's being pressed, he's got the dribbling ability and the awareness to ride challenges, wriggle his way out in between 2 players, become really, really difficult to deal with. And we saw on a couple of occasions, I think twice, he won free kicks on the edge of the box with his dribbling ability and willingness to go into the final third. And I think in the centre of the park, they just couldn't get near him. They couldn't deal with him. Whenever he got the ball, he was either doing a nice simple pass off to a fullback or a midfielder, or he's wriggling his way in between the centre mids, and they just couldn't get near him. There was a point near the end of the game where he's literally dancing in between De Jong and Romeo to get a free kick right on the edge of the box. And it's like, this is the confident Bissouma in full flight we love to see. And he really is a delight when he's in the mood he was yesterday. I literally remember one time, I think throughout the whole 90 minutes, where he gave away the ball, and that was in the first half. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. No surprises as well that we did kind of crumble once he went off the pitch, even though it was only a few minutes. We conceded 2 goals. And I think that's probably telling as well as to how maybe reliant we were on him yesterday. And if he's going to put in performances like that in the Premier League, we're in for a big season with him.
Yeah, absolutely. And a bit of a worrying moment, though, when he did go down injured, and he did get taken off a few moments later. I assume it was just a bit of a precaution, but let's hope that he's not carrying an injury going into this last game.
Not the first time he's picked up a knock this pre-season, is it?
Yeah, true.
And he did. I remember Lewandowski did a bad challenge on him as well. So and a few times he was getting bad challenges on him because he was just so hard to deal
Barca were being a bit dirty last night, weren't they? Let's move on to Giovanni Lo Celso. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. Obviously had his hand in Ollie Skip's first goal, where he took a nice shot and it hit the post, and Ollie Skip picks up the rebound. And I think all in all, he put in another really good display in pre-season, and proving to Ange Postecoglou and to the Spurs fans that he does have a place in this team, and he does have a place in this squad, and he can provide for us really positively on the pitch. And I feel like he's taking a lot more authority on the pitch as well, is what we have been accustomed to seeing. It seems as though like we've got that Giovanni Lo Celso of that stretch where Jose Mourinho really fancied him, where he was like the best player on the team in that small moment in time. But I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from Lo Celso creatively. He was the most creative player on the pitch last night, and again, another player which I'm really excited to see what's to come this season.
Yeah, another really confident display from Lo Celso. As you say, he's commanding more authority, he's demanding the ball in tight situations. His dribbling ability again was on show yesterday, with his ability to ride challenges and beat players who were trying to press and win the ball back off him, was showing strength as well. Didn't get in too many shooting positions. He had a free kick on the edge of the box which was only clipped over the wall, but easy save from the keeper. And obviously he did hit the post for Ollie Skip's goal, which was a bit of a scruffy finish, but nearly scoring with it. Didn't get into too many other shooting positions, but I think when you look at the clips of yesterday and some of our best moves, best footballing moves, especially when playing out the back, him and Bissouma are just at the hub of it all, like passing and moving and very hard to deal with. And he seems just like a man on a mission to play his way back into Tottenham's plans and Ange's thinking, and he's doing a brilliant job. Another really, really good display from him.
We've been saying for the past week or so that it's either going to be Lo Celso or Maddison, especially in the early days of Ange ball. Do you think there's a possibility that both of them can play with a Bissouma against Brentford?
I don't think against Brentford, but I think during the season, once we get our structure, once we're like more confident in our structure. I think at the beginning of the season, it's going to be more of a case of implementing our structure, but not going too gung-ho as to like commit suicide on the pitch. That's why I think we're going to have players like Emerson. That's why I think we're going to have players like one more defensive player maybe in midfield. But once we really start to perfect how we want to play under Ange and really start to dominate the ball and be like a lot more attacking and possession based, then I think you're going to see Porro and maybe even as a Celso partner Maddison, when we're much more confident in our ability to really dominate the ball against oppositions. So I think for now, no, but I think during the season, yes, I think we will see it.
All right, let's move on and let's go to the right-hand side of the attack. Manor Solomon, sixes all round. I think when Spurs started to grow in dominance, you really saw Manor Solomon be a bit tricky. He was huffing and puffing without really blowing Barcelona's house down, to be honest. And it was a bit disappointing with his end product, but I liked his energy. I liked him always looking for the ball and trying to pick up the ball. And he could beat a man or two, but there was really not too much on the end of those runs. So I'd like to see a bit more quality from Manor Solomon, but it was nice energy and effort.
Yeah, I'd say positives. He was a bundle of energy. A lot of the times on the right hand side, he's winning free kicks. He's getting past Balde and winning free kicks in dangerous areas, crossing areas. He's tracking back and making tackles and making tactical fouls, which is valuable for the team. He I guess again, like I don't really like him on the right hand side, to be honest. I think he goes on the outside. He didn't seem comfortable. He didn't seem to have the confidence to really get out Balde when he was one-on-one with him and when he was shaping up to take him on. And I agree, his end product, he had probably a couple of moments in terms of end product to really show what he's about. There was a chance in the first half where he picks the ball up in the box and he gets a shot off on his left foot and it goes wide, and he was played through kind of one-on-one by Richarlison in the first half, and it was a bit of a weak finish straight to Stegen, so that was a bit disappointing as well. So there were two chances for him to really show off a bit of end product and wasn't able to take either of them. For me, a lot of people have been very impressed with him in pre-season and what he's shown. I, for one, haven't been overly impressed. I'm not saying he's been disappointing, but I personally haven't seen anything from Solomon that I haven't really seen from like any other tricky fast winger in the Premier League who's able to take someone on and have a bit of pace. I'm hoping that he starts to show a bit more end product during the season, but I think in pre-season he showed some good signs, some good flashes, but I haven't been blown away by him yet.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think there's a lot more to come from Manor. I think he's had a positive start to life at Tottenham. I think the way he gets on the ball, I think defenders are not going to like playing against him because he really relishes those one-on-one situations and he really relishes taking the fullbacks on. In my opinion, what we're lacking from him so far is the end product. I like what I see up until then, but then when it gets to the end product in terms of his final pass or his final cross or the shot, hasn't been top-notch just yet, but hopefully there's more things to come from Manor, and I've been impressed by what I've seen so far, for sure. Next up for Ivan Perisic, 8s all round from Perry. And look, Perisic has been unbelievable in this pre-season so far, and yesterday was no different. In fact, it was probably his best display. The way he was getting the ball on the left-hand side, his pinpoint passes into the centre, his pinpoint crosses, obviously that cross that found Ollie Skip with that bullet header was absolutely sensational, and he just causes problems time and time again. When you don't ask him to defend and you just ask him to press high up the pitch and to provide that quality, which we know he can provide, I mean, it's taking away that element from his game under Conte, where we were just so worried every time. And now I'm just so excited every time he gets the ball because he's got that quality that he can provide time and time again. And he was showing that again yesterday.
Yeah, another really top display from Ivan Perisic. His crossing got a great assist for Ollie Skip's second goal with a pinpoint cross. He was giving Araujo and then Roberto no end of problems when he was on the pitch. And his passing seems a lot more crisp, a lot more accurate, a lot more dangerous as well. And you know when he gets those passes right, it just makes Tottenham so much more dangerous when we're going on attacks. And he had this aggressive streak to him yesterday. He was making some nasty, not nasty challenges, but aggressive challenges, really putting himself about. And Barcelona were getting a bit frustrated with him with some of the challenges he was making. But that's what he can bring to the team. He's got that experience, and when he gets in those forward positions, if he can dig out a cross and he can beat the man, then but more often than not, he's going to have a lot of quality on the end of it. So it was another really, really encouraging and really good display by Ivan Perisic, and he's caps off a really good pre-season for him.
Yeah, and he just looks so much better when you don't ask him to get up and down the whole pitch all day long. I mean, with a player of his age, you just can't do that consistently throughout 90 minutes. And in this Ange system, I just think it suits him perfectly for the attributes that he does have. And then finally, let's move on to Richarlison. 5s all round from us. Got his opportunity leading the line as number 9 for the majority of the game. And I don't think he provided too much quality, to be honest. I mean, off the ball, he's Richarlison. We know what he's going to bring. Running, aggression, causing defences problems in terms of tracking down and pressing. But I don't remember any sort of quality he provided on the ball. And worrying the other defenders that way. I mean, there was that one shot from the edge of the area which went over the bar, which was fairly close. But apart from that, I don't really remember much to fill me with any sort of confidence that maybe he can lead that line as much as I've been bigging him up.
Yeah, there was one other moment where he played a nice through ball to Solomon, which was a nice through ball, but Solomon had to stretch to get it and take it under control, and ended up getting the one-on-one and missing. I think, on the ball though, he tried a lot of flicks and passes around the corner, and more often than not, it didn't come off and they weren't accurate enough. He did have a few headers which he wasn't able to get much purchase on and get much power on, which unfortunately wasn't able to test the goalkeeper. He had that really nice turn and shot on the edge of the box, which unfortunately went over the bar for him, wasn't able to get it on target. I think on the ball, all in all, was probably a very frustrating afternoon for Richarlison. Didn't get too involved, but I think Ange probably appreciated the shift he put in for the team, and that probably also helped us. Allowed us to dominate a bit more with, relentless trying to run in behind and cause and make the defenders think. And at least even when he's, not doing much on the ball, he's making the opposition defenders, having to think about where he is, what he's going to be, and also hurry them with his pressing and relentless work rate.
All right, well, there you have it. That is our player ratings for the 4-2 loss against Barcelona in our last pre-season friendly. We move on to the Premier League, people. This weekend is the big kickoff against Brentford on Sunday, 2 o'clock kickoff. We'll be back with more content for you guys very, very soon. But thank you, everyone, for watching. Put your ratings in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.